Hello everybody and welcome to the final day of the 12 Days of ComiXmas. This is actually the second time I recorded this because I'm getting over being sick, and so my voice was a little bit crispy in the first recording, and also I did that thing where I just space out and start reading the comic instead of actually reviewing it because we're reviewing something that I'm very excited to share with you all. Something that I'm delighted to look at. I actually bought this for myself for Christmas last year, and by the time that it arrived, it was already past Christmas, and it seemed a little late to review that. But now it is the perfect time, and I have definitely saved the best for last. I'm gonna try really hard not to do the thing where I sit there and I say nothing because I'm just enjoying the details of the art so much, because this is by my favorite artist, Simon Bisley, the line art and inking anyway, and I just kind of space out and take in all the awesomeness that is his line art. So if you don't know the gist of this story, this basically, it follows Lobo being hired by the Easter Bunny to kill Santa. Let's admire this awesome page for a second here. I really like how the colors and the line art work together. Bisley has this very detailed line art style, and the colors are relatively flat in comparison. There's not a lot of shading. You can see a bit on Lobo's physique, mostly white, but with a little bit of blue shading. But for the most part, it's a pretty flat color scheme that works very well with the detailed line art. And that's something I'd like to do in my own comics. I want to not have to be super fussy about my colors. I want to get fussy with my line art. That's what I want to do. And so, as I was saying, the gist of this comic is Lobo has been hired by the Easter Bunny to take somebody out. That somebody, not being the Joker, that somebody is Santa Claus, because all this Christmas cheer, everybody loves Christmas, Easter's not getting nearly enough attention. How are they supposed to compete with all that Christmas spirit? And so, Lobo is more than happy to take this job. Which, there was actually not like a full-length movie adaptation, but a short film, I think it was done by some film students, an adaptation of this comic that is really cool. If you would like to see a Christmas movie that doesn't give you diabetes and doesn't bring you just complete pain, that's a good one to check out. So I'm gonna link that below. I'm gonna link that in the description so you can check it out. I really like this page. I like the there's a particular line art quality that I just really love on these characters. I like how these guys in the background, they're a little bit less defined, a little looser, and then this guy in the front, his very goblin-y looking ears. I don't know for certain, but I want to say Bisley was probably using a dip pen or maybe a fountain pen, because it's got that very organic, the lines have that very organic feel that you would get from a pen nib rather than something like a micron pen. He was probably using not necessarily cartridge fountain pen like this, but probably something more like that, which I have gotten into using fountain pens and a little bit of dip pens recently, and it is an awesome experience. Once you figure it out, it is some fun inking, and there's just so many panels in this comic that I really love. And this is why I had to re-record this, because I just kind of sat here and was like, this is cool. I like this picture. I like this picture of Lobo. It's a good picture of Lobo. And if I say that for every panel, this is going to be a long-ass review of me basically saying nothing other than just me saying repeatedly, oh, look at the contrast. This is cool. I do really like the contrast in this scene. And I also, there's so much going on here that's just delightful. I like how we've got the implication that the gun is firing the gun is just in this fixed position, but you've got the multiple shots firing. And I think that's just a really effective shot. And then this is delightful. I have sometimes complained about comics where if they want to have violence, they need to just go for it. Don't get scared to draw blood. Some comics, they're just holding back too much. There's no holding back. We got some eyes popping out. That guy's nose is going off his face. It reminds me of a piece of advice I got from one of my art teachers in college. Oh, here we go. This is the best example of what I'm about to say here. My teacher was saying that I should look at Ottoman art and scenes of battles, because if I want some good reference for decapitation, if I want to see somebody in art history draw some good decapitations, that's where you look. That head is off the body. You know there's a decapitation. You can't get wimpy with it. We are very clear that his guts are spewing forth from his form. That's just such a good hand, too. This is somebody that knows anatomy. I think if you're gonna draw some good gory shots, you need to practice some anatomy. And I think if you're gonna draw a really exaggerated character like Lobo, there's this huge muscular dude, there's a lot of exaggerated poses. You have to know anatomy pretty well to draw something that's that exaggerated. It kind of reminds me of something that Matisse said. No, it's a little weird we're bringing up Henri Matisse while reading our Lobo comic, but somebody once asked him why he always worked from a model if he was just going to deviate from it, because he didn't paint photorealistic art. He didn't actually see the reason to do that, because this is a time when photography was probably not just invented, but it was affecting the art world. And he said something to the effect of, if I don't have a model, what am I going to deviate from? And I think that is a good way to think about if you want to draw in a very exaggerated style and you're not necessarily going for a realistic look, it does help to know how to draw the actual body, understand bone structure and muscles, and draw what an actual realistic human being looks like, because then you can do a better job at drawing some crazy ass anatomy like our boy Lobo here. So that was my art history diversion in our Lobo comic. Can't say that you're not getting educated watching these. But Lobo, as you can undoubtedly see, he has made his way through Santa's hideout, and there is the man himself. He has a gorilla, because he's Santa and he can do whatever the hell he wants. And he and Lobo are going to have a good old-fashioned knife fight. This is also a very badass shot. I like there's a lot of places in this comic where you can see some really splattery ink, and that's one of the reasons I think there's a fountain pen involved. Or actually a brush and just ink, because you can do some good splattering effect with ink. It's just sometimes a little hard to control. So making something messy in a deliberate way and not look like you just don't know what you're doing, that's a very tricky thing to do. But you can see all these just great splattery details in this page. Again, we got some eyeballs popping out. This is not a good end for Santa, not at all. But this is also not a very good Santa in this universe, so maybe he just had it coming to him. But see, his head's not even in the panel. That has been cut the hell off. Again, I love the line art. I love the contrast. And I think the really bright colors work very well. I know sometimes I don't color my comics very well. Maybe some people think I do. I'm not sure I do. I think maybe I just hold myself to a really high standard, but I like seeing how other people are coloring the comics. Actually, this is a really good example of something that I'm trying to do, but Lobo is in this kind of industrial metal walled environment, and they're not coloring with just straight gray. That's something I have done in several issues of my comic Whoa Awesome Space Babe, and I got to this point where I was like, I am goddamn sick and tired of coloring everything gray. Maybe I should learn some color theory. Maybe I should make my comics a little more vibrant to look at, because if I'm sick and tired of looking all the gray, you guys are going to be sick and tired of looking at all that gray. So I ended up trying to shade in kind of more red-hued backgrounds, maybe like warmer and cooler depending on where my characters are. You can see that there's like blue and green on these walls. That's a really bright pop of green. This one's more yellow, but it's not just straight gray. There's a little bit of gray, but it's not just, wow, that's some goddamn gray backgrounds. So our boy Lobo, he has found the master list of every child that has been documented by Santa. Naughty or nice, they are all there. And Lobo gets to work because he has got himself an idea for exactly what to give to all these little shits. All these little shits on Santa's list. And then Rudolph, he does not meet a good end here. And so this is Lobo's present to all the children of the world. He's just gonna nuke them all. And that's how that story ends. Also, these people who thought that this book they're reading is gonna solve all their problems, that doesn't exactly work out well for them. And there's our boy Lobo. Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed looking through this as much as I enjoyed reading it. I also got ink on this from one of my Art Snacks videos. I was very salty about that. The ink on my pristine Lobo comic. I've even got it in the sleeve so it can remain protected and pristine. But I love this comic. I think this is awesome to read. That's kind of what I like in comics, where we're not saying anything deep. There's no relevant social commentary. Lobo just fucks shit up, and I think that is exactly the kind of Christmas spirit that we need. So, again, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you enjoyed all the episodes in this series. If you missed any, I do have a full playlist of all the previous episodes. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.